Hello, everyone. Welcome to our newest podcast. My name is Aryan.
My name is Shlok.
And this is All Over the Place, where we basically talk about literally anything and everything that comes to our mind. We don't have a script. My phone is here for no reason, and those are headphones.
And we share water bottles.
Yeah, we share water bottles.
Water falling.
We're extremely close like that.
Waterfall.
Two men that share water are two men that...
Do not complete that sentence, please. I do not.
I didn't actually know a different way to complete that sentence.
Okay.
So we're gonna keep it very strictly straight.
Mm-hmm. I think the first topic we should start off about is because we're in a podcast room, a proper one, and hopefully we'll have our own proper podcast room in the future.
I think as long as we just have something along with the lines of these mics are so much better than those we were using before.
These mics and headphones, listening, I've learned now how much better it is. Like I always thought, like when you see podcasts like True Geordie podcast, Joe Rogan Experience,
Impulsive by Logan Paul.
I love that. He still scammed people.
What's Good podcast with Minnie Minter and Randolph?
Good? Wait, they don't have the headphones.
They can, but they don't wear the headphones.
But I realize why this is helpful. I can hear myself. I can hear you.
Exactly.
And it's so much better.
And I can hear how sexy my voice is.
I'm sexy.
Also, because we know that it's recording. So basically, for everyone who doesn't know, we had this podcast originally with two of our other friends. And long story short, it was good, but there's a reason why we're doing our own podcast. Not because we hate those people.
I want to work with them in the future. I'm hoping to continue that podcast while we do this as well.
Like just alongside. It's just that we haven't uploaded anything in maybe 5 months.
We have stockpiled over 15 different episodes.
Dude, I kid you not, I had 4 episodes sitting on my phone taking up 40 gigabytes of space.
Okay, why? Okay, in the future, this is a little... Okay, this is going to still be in here. You could offload that on my external hard drive when I bring it home. I deleted that. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of All Over the Place. I'll talk to you guys.
No, I had to. I was running out of Google One space.
Yeah, no, I don't fault you. It was putting a lot of pressure on you as well. And I know it took a lot of your school time. That's the second reason. So the second reason we weren't able to a big issue with our podcast, and why I want to talk about it in the beginning is. Because we had so many people, we had 4 people all with busy schedules. One person who was doing school and work at the same time. Another person that was studying for a certain certification, and he was studying hard for it. And then between the two of us, I'm trying to get further into research because I have my own complications. And this man, future doctor over here.
Yeah, so I was doing the MCAT in the summer, and we were doing... I don't know. I think we just made it super complicated with the editing.
Exactly. We wanted to use AI a lot of places here and there. I would have been fine even if it was screechy audio and stuff. But if we had fun.
Yeah.
And also it was very in the beginning, don't you agree that it was really cool how every one of us did some research and was able to contribute very smart things. We were knowledgeable. Later on, it felt like we were having a vibe. However, we were talking, talking out of, to say in better words, talking out of our ass is much easier because it's 2 people that have known each other for over a decade, and we have so much in common.
Exactly. So we can talk about literally grade 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, first year university, second year, third year, fourth year, and now 5th year of university.
And COVID.
COVID. We can literally talk about all those years coming up to it. So we quite literally have the ability to talk out of our asses. So and that's why we're calling it All Over the Place, because we're basically going to run every episode kind of with nothing planned, but I think it'll still be fun.
It will.
I think it'll still be a lot of fun. But I think the main issue, and I think one of the things that I hope that we do differently is if we just keep everything super simple, super raw, it'll flow so much easier. If with this if let's say one of us is watching over an hour video or whatever, we watch it over, we cut out the parts we don't like, but apart from that, we're good. There's nothing that we have to do with the different camera angles. There's nothing that we have to do with audio. The audio is being recorded on the same video file. This, uploaded iMovie, go on YouTube, and we're done.
Exactly. And props to McMaster's media.
McMaster Lions Media Center in Mills Memorial Library is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Yes, the worker who was like 10 minutes late, we lost 10 minutes for podcasting room time. That was a little bit of a weird start. I also had a very awkward interaction with someone before. I thought I knew them, but then when I waved, they didn't wave back at me, so I was like, oh shit.
I've done that hundreds of times, especially because I go to Brock University. I have a small campus. When you do that, there's less people around, so it's more noticeable. So that everyone's looking, why the hell is that guy like waving up, like his hands in the air? And what's the craziest thing is because we've had more suspicious incidents. Like during reading week, we had like this random notifications like everyone stay inside the building, don't get out, and then like. A week after Monday, I don't know which week it was. I think it was 2 weeks ago on a Monday. They were like, no one come to this side of the residences. There is a suspicious activity. Like something's going on. I'm like, what is happening?
Is your university safe?
My university is known to throw some crazy parties, some insane parties. However, if you stay in like Mackenzie Chow, which is like the science lab, the chemistry, psychology seminar rooms are and labs are, it's safe there. And Karen's also McMaster. Technically, that's Brock and McMaster's. Brock's. We're both sister schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we hold a campus for their medical school, De Groot. We like some attachments between our school, but you know what? The thing that sucks. Commuting between the schools.
Oh.
To commute between the schools, it took me people 2.5 hours. I wanted to die. Bro, the buses are depressing. Go buses have no sense of happiness on them. There's no sense of like people are going to places they're excited to go to. It's just dead.
Yeah.
And because there's not as much like breathing room as like the GO trains, because the GO trains are wider.
Yeah, they are.
It's just
honestly, I think Ontario and Canada in general, just we have no right to call ourselves a first world country. We have no right. Like, what is going on here? To get to my house, listen here. My house is 20 minutes from McMaster. You know how long it takes me to get there? If I did not Uber, if let's say Uber did not exist in this universe, it would take me an hour and 45 or 50 minutes to get somewhere that is 20 minutes away by car. If I were to take public transit from my house. And my house is not in the middle of nowhere. You know where my house is.
Yes, I know.
It's not in the middle of nowhere.
But it's sad. Just in the GTA's how would I say, public transport infrastructure is really good. But when you cut outside the GTA, its public transport connections to anywhere like Hamilton, to St. Catharines, to Niagara Falls, and anywhere in between, awful. Going to Waterloo, which I think this is one good thing about Hamilton Go, like the Hamilton Go Center, they have buses that can take you to Pickering and Waterloo, really good, but they take forever still.
They do.
They take like 3 hours. But it's such a tiring thing. I just wish like Metrolinx was much more expanded. Like, you know, they have a sign in Grimsby that they were like, oh, we're expanding Metrolinx coming soon. They put that sign up my first year of uni.
Did they not continue?
There's nothing. There's just been the buses. It's fucking ridiculous.
Didn't they like? I don't understand why they have a train that goes. They have a train that goes to Niagara Falls, which is fantastic. They only run that during 2 months of the year. Why? Do you think people are only going to want to go to Niagara Falls 2 months in the year? What about the people that study there? First of all, Go trains are one of the not Go trains. Go buses are one of the worst inventions in my entire life. Like, who decided that I'm going to take a bus instead of a Go train? Just build more trains.
Okay, wait. Okay, train tracks?
No. Listen. Yes, I understand. We have highways and whatever. But, first of all, do you think... Okay, I'm going to give you two scenarios. You're sitting on this nice seat, right? You're just breezing through. There's not a single piece of traffic, right? There's a lower chance that someone's sitting next to you, right? And if you miss a train, there's probably one 15 or 20 minutes later or 30 minutes, whatever, right? Yeah. Now let me write you another picture. And let's say if you miss the train, right, or this piece of transportation, you can go sit in either an air conditioned or heated facility. Now, if you miss the bus, you have to stand outside in the cold. My bus stop is literally next to a forest. My bus stop is a forest. I have to stand. If I miss the bus, I have to stand one in the dark or early in the morning, one of the two. There is no hut. There's no hut to stand inside. So if it's raining, I'm getting wet. Number one. Number two, there's no heating, there's no air conditioning, so I'm either sweating or freezing. Now, if I manage to get on that bus, there is a 90% chance that either it's full or I'm gonna be sitting next to some sweaty person who stinks. And I don't want to deal with that every day during my university thing. Because okay, listen. This bus goes directly to campus, and I'm not beating up on any McMaster students. McMaster students are the greatest people ever. It is the locals, the non-students who take the go bus. They have their feet sticking out next to me. I once took a bus to get to work in Square One. Then this man has his feet, his socks, and again, I'm not hating on him. He has his socks out on the bus, on the seat next to me. He sees that I'm going to have to come sit next to him. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't put his feet off the seat. He just moves them closer to himself. So I'm basically sitting on his feet.
It's not all public people, but yeah,
it's horrible. The go bus is one of the most. And if you miss the bus, you got to wait 45 minutes because there's a 90% chance that the bus is late.
It's pretty awful. For the GO train thing for Niagara Falls, it's stopped doing that. It's coming now. Like at least there's 3 trains that go back and forth between Union and Niagara Falls. Mm-hmm. The issue there is, and this is a big issue. We only have one track. There's only one track that goes from St. Catharines Go and Niagara Falls Go. One track.
So the train can only go either that way or
there's also via rail that goes and the freight trains. So these idiots were like, no, we don't need to expand this. Even though we're building up St. Catharines, like they have future plans on making from Hamilton all the way to St. Catharines a bunch of cities. Like they've developed Grimsby much more. Stony Creek, a lot of people are moving in there. They're building a lot of apartment buildings. You know Lake House?
Yeah.
They're building condos and things, condos and small like townhouses. Nearby there because they want to build the community further. However, if the public transport, the trains are not compatible, how the hell are people going to go anywhere? So even by car, it'll just be further traffic jams and commuting. It'll be more congestion. But if you improve the trains, the tracks, and instead of expanding a line they already had and improving a line they already have, they expanded toward Western University. They expanded toward London. These mans. They already developed a track. They made promises to the people of Grimsby, and they fucking didn't do anything. I'm so fucked. They're like, oh, we'll add 2 more buses, and we'll add 2 stops between Grimsby and St. Catharines. What the fuck are we supposed to do?
Listen, I think that the way listen, I don't know whose idea this was. Maybe it was our dumbass prime minister. Or
no. It's GO stands for Government of Ontario.
I'm just saying in general, the way that places are developing right now, we don't have the infrastructure to support these people.
We move off this topic. You know what I'm going to say, and
I know. Listen, listen. I came to Canada in 2002 in October.
All right, we're pushing.
So we're pushing it. But I'm just saying we don't. It's not. I'm not hating on the people. I'm not hating on anyone specifically. I'm not. I'm just saying that we need to take small steps. We're taking way too many big steps without expanding on other things that actually can help people, rather than make it worse for them when they come here, or worse for the people who are already here. For me to get out of Oakville now, to get to work, takes 20 minutes.
Bro, the Oakville situation by itself is it's tiring to think about because there's no like Dundas is not getting expanded for good reason. They're like very limited. They can't make
They
an
have no
extra
space.
lane.
Yeah, they don't
They
have
can't.
space.
It's already 3 lanes on both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
So the congestion's getting to the point that it's ridiculous. Burlington's going through hell, but the thing is, Burlington's twice the size of Oakville.
Yeah, Burlington's huge, and the thing is, Burlington's right now, half of it is under construction.
Exactly, they are building things to
Yeah.
actually help expand it. They're
Yeah.
building roads, more everything.
The Dundas side, the Burlington side of Dundas is currently under construction to expand. That is good, but we don't have the facilities big enough.
No, exactly, and for me, it's because Oakville's always supposed to be a small town. We're not going to talk further about this because I can make arguments that will get me banned from any for post-secondary education or workplace for the next 20 years of my life. So moving
I
forward,
think anonymity. I don't know if that's the word.
Anonymity or being anonymous. So this is an interesting thing, and we want to also talk about.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this podcast, we were thinking, let's be anonymous. There was 2 reasons. The first reason we're not going to get into. The
Yeah.
second reason, I'll start off
Yeah.
with it. It's because I'm afraid now of saying things. Like, I'm afraid, not just cussing, making criticisms, all these things. There's been more laws around censorship, more laws around like more critiques online, like. Even with today's, like, not just political arguments, it's like social arguments.
Mhm.
You can't be contradictory or like say, oh, like, what about if we do it this way? And if it contradicts like 90% of what people think, people are not just going to call you stupid. If people just call me stupid, he's like, he's a dumbass or whatever, I'll be like, fine, okay, I'm stupid for thinking of it this way. Help me build further on.
Yeah.
No, they will try to pummel you into the ground and be like, you're wrong, you're horrible.
Yeah. I think it's just like there's not a lot of room for disagreement. There's no place for open discussion. And listen, we're not saying this out of bad faith. Us saying this does not mean that we oppose certain things or certain majorities or whatever. It's just saying that if we were to like say something that's, let's say, not against the majority, we would get pretty destroyed for it. And we're not saying that we support anything particular. We're just saying it in general, right? Even right now, saying that I'm scared.
We're dodging a lead.
We're dodging.
We're trying to be like KSI.
Okay, let's talk about something. Let's talk about something that.
Wait, we had one more topic we had to talk about. Da, 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 da. No, not that topic. The other one.
We're going to talk about the Sidemen.
Oh, yes. So the inspiration for the podcast name.
Yes. So the reason why we named this podcast All Over the Place is, one, of course, the reasons what we said before, but the way that we came up with the name is because there's someone very, very near and dear to my heart. His name is KSI. And he released an album in 2021, probably one of the greatest albums I've ever listened to in my entire life. And it was also called All Over the Place. And the reason why he named it All Over the Place is because every single song is different from the one before. And that's what I think this podcast is going to be. Every single episode is going to be different than the one before. Like right now, we're literally just rambling about whatever. We talked about how the GTA is expanding in the wrong way. We talked about how the GTA is trash. And we talked about anonymity, which I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But and now we're talking about this, and now like we can now branch off and talk about literally anything else, and that's why the podcast is called All Over the Place, because KSI is one of the greatest human beings that ever lived and walked on this earth.
So going back to one of my questions I asked you before.
Yes.
Who's your favorite British YouTuber?
Yeah. So my favorite British YouTuber is Knowledge, Strength, Integrity.
Okay. All right. Okay. He had a different answer for our people.
The reason why I had a different answer before is because there were two different things. So the reason why I did before is because I said KSI is my favorite African British YouTuber because he's African British, right? And then he asked me, he's like, so who's your favorite British YouTuber? And I was like, Simon Minter, Mini Minter. But then not realizing that they're technically both in the same category. I just categorize them wrong.
I don't blame you for that. I don't blame you for that at all. Another thing, because you take part in charities, you
Yes.
do a lot of charity work, you volunteer a lot. I actually wanted to talk about, and this was something recently, it's a YouTube trauma, but it blends over to charity work. So there was a YouTuber called The Completionist. He's basically, he completes video games. So completing a video game, people, if you don't know, it's like they try to get all the achievements that are locked in a video game. So achievements being like, get a high score in this mini game inside this video game. Beat the story in this amount of time. And he does speed running and all that stuff. But he does all this type of stuff, and he's a famous YouTuber for it. But he holds these events now. It's like they're called IndieCon, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's called IndieCon, but they're charity events. But the whole thing is that they're to show off indie games, indie video games. So they like show off like a bunch of small indie games. They showed off like Shovel Knight. They had a bunch of like small celebrities and other stuff there. Big celebrities. Jamie Lee Curtis, the woman from Halloween, the actress from Halloween.
Yeah.
So she was on there, and the whole thing, the charity. Guess what it's for? Dementia.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's to help help for dementia research and dementia prevention. Because his mother, the completionist, his mother had dementia. And sadly, she passed away. So in 2014, he officially created a nonprofit, held these events, and they claim they've collected over $600,000.
Okay.
Now, at least 150 have gone towards administration. You know, like you have to pay people.
Exactly.
But that. However, recently, one of my favorite YouTubers, Mudahar, also known as Some Ordinary Gamers, and another YouTuber called Carl Jobst. He looks into video game controversies and stuff. They looked into this charity, and because in America, all IRS, all the funding and stuff, it's public documentation, they found, which is interesting enough, that administrative costs were very cheap. They're like only $10K every year.
Okay.
But since 2014, they've not donated or sent a single dollar to a single a charitable group, like a single dementia research group, single university that research. Any dementia help center, any hospital, nothing. It's just been stuck in a bank account. Not a single dollar. Even though he's claimed multiple years before that he has. And for the past couple of years, or the last couple of events, because of COVID happened, they had raised those, I think the last two events, definitely, they've raised $100,000 alone in those events. So there's anywhere between 400 to I think 500. It's some grand amount of money that's been sitting there, just not touched. And because of inflation, its value has gone down. Yeah. So it's even worse
than before.
And he's been, one of his excuses he made is I learned of this situation only in 2021 or 2022. So it's been a year since he's learned this money's not moved. And the other excuse he made is that he's I want to send this charity to a place where I know it's not all going to go into the doctor's salary for the research and stuff. I'm like, okay, so this money's not gone anywhere. It's not moved. It's not anything. So it's either incompetence, bad intentions, or a combination of those two.
This man is literally just. I think he's just using his. He's literally just using his. You said it was his mother, right?
His mother had dementia. She died. No, he's a super nice person. A lot of people have nice. People have been defending him on Twitter. A lot of popular people and some smaller people have been defending him. Yeah. But a lot of people are like, "This is weird. There is what is happening here." Because his family works on this charity. Yeah. His brother is on I think he's on a seat taking care of events, and his brother takes care of a lot of things. He's a good person. Everything shows that the money is just sitting there. However, that's what the paperwork shows. He may have moved the money out. He may have not. There's no allegations that he has moved the money, or no proof the money has been moved out. The money might be there, so it might be just incompetence. However, this level of incompetence is insane with a charity.
Yeah, because this is the thing. I think while he might be a nice person, to a certain extent, he is using his situation for this. He's using it, and he could use it in a good way. I'm not saying using the situation is a bad thing to do. I'm just saying use your experience but to get something good out of it, right? If you're going to use that experience, why is the money just left in there? Like, I understand, like, okay, you don't want it to go to a certain doctor or whatever, but like,
like doctor salary,
yeah, doctor
like
salary,
inflating their salaries.
yeah, but it's not, man. Fuck, man. That's why it's not even explaining any salary. Who is this man? This man's a dumbass.
But the thing is, even if that money went to the doctor salary,
Yeah.
part of it would still go to buying resources for dementia
Yeah,
research, buying the research group, buying the sterilized equipment they need.
Yeah, and even look. At the end of the day, if you want someone to do research for a specific thing, they're not going to do it for free. You have to pay them something. So whether it is going to the doctor's salary or not, it's going to a good cause because you're paying the doctor or you're paying the researcher or whatever, the organization, to research something for the cause, get somewhere good from it. So if you're just if you're worried about that, I think you should just shut down the charity entirely and do something else, because if the money is just sitting there, it's not doing anything for you, right? If I was to open up a charity, because I would have a similar reason to open up a charity. If I was opening up that charity again, I'm going to be very, like, maybe wary about where the money is going. But once I find that thing, like I'd probably donate it to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, right? Because that's something that is known, right? It's going to a foundation, like I think it's a Canadian foundation, but it's going to a Canadian foundation that is working towards pretty evidently heart and stroke, like cardiovascular issues, and anything related to that, right? So if it's just sitting there, I think it's been dumb.
I also think he's dumb, but I think this further goes on into bad actors in charities or incompetence in charities. Because if you look at it, a lot of charities, like recently I donated also to a charity called Plan Canada, which have stories about them.
What's Plan Canada?
Okay, I'm happy you asked. So they're a charity that helps prevent human trafficking of people, of people in like dispoverished nations, like third world countries, which Canada's about to be soon.
Yeah. Literally.
Bro, 12 hours waiting in a hospital emergency.
Like this is why I want to be a doctor. Because we don't have the capabilities to do anything. Like imagine you go, and of course they deal it on like a case by case basis about how severe something is. But if you're waiting 12 hours with, let's say, I don't know, like even if you're waiting 5 hours with a broken arm, like you know how excruciating that pain can be. You've not broken your arm, have you?
No, Albert has. Albert waited a long time.
Like imagine this man is waiting in the waiting room as like a 12-year-old or 13-year-old with a broken arm, and he's broken it in the past before. A broken arm, excruciating pain. Like, come on. Like, this guy's a child, too. And you're making him wait.
This is one of our friends. This happened 10 years ago, but nothing has improved. Even things have gotten worse.
It's gotten worse. Like, the issue is that, like, great, healthcare is free, but it really isn't at the same time. Healthcare is not free. Like everyone, so in Ontario, everyone's covered by the Ontario Health Insurance Plan, OHIP, right? And that's the basic coverage that everyone gets. And it does cover like a decent amount of things, right? That if you're comparing it to the United States, yes, sure, we do have it better off. A lot of the things are free. But then again, a lot of things aren't free. Like I've gone to the doctor like a few times in the past month, basically because I want to treat an issue related to acne, right? And I've had to get a couple pills. I've had to get that. I'm on Accutane now. But the main thing that I've found here is I've gone in and I've walked out paying like $300-400 for medication. Where's the coverage? And then on top of that, if let's say, like, thank God I have insurance through university, so my university covers health and dental insurance. But imagine I didn't have that. I'm a university student. I got things to pay. I'm working multiple jobs. You take away $300-400 away from me. That's like that's like 2 weeks of my salary right there. You've just made me pay 2 weeks of my salary for medication. So what coverage are we dealing with? It is not free healthcare here. And on top of that, you're making people wait 12 hours. And the argument is we have free healthcare. bullshit the free healthcare.
And our parents are taxed like 50%.
Exactly. We're taxed so much for the garb of free healthcare. Like, no, this is not free healthcare.
The thing is, we have the money. It's just we're misappropriating funds to. Fine. Okay. Well, sorry. I'm not against invasions of countries are horrible. I condemn any deaths, ceasefire to all places. However, I just need healthcare, man.
So if we're talking about issues in other countries, I fully support. I or not support. What's the word? Condone? No, don't. I don't condone.
You condemn violence.
I condemn violence. I hate violence. It's super sad what's going on around the world, right? And I wish the best for everyone. And I'm like, whatever. I wish the best. It's really sad and all that. And I'm not dismissing any of that. But when there are problems right outside your door, right, those should be the first things you notice. Like if I walk outside my door and I see my tree's on fire, the first thing I notice should be that the tree's on fire, and I'm gonna be like, I gotta put it out, right? I'm not gonna notice I shouldn't notice the other things, right?
I wouldn't notice three towns down that someone else is having trouble paying off their mortgage for that house, or they're having a fight with another person. Even though it's sad that's happening, I'll send them out emotional support. There's a lot of stuff that we here have to deal with first, and we have to make sure that we progress. Like, we're not saying, how would I say this? We're trying to meet the bare necessities on a necessity. That is medical care. Medical care is a necessity, and we're trying to fix that.
And the thing is, like, if you don't, like, if I didn't go outside and I didn't put that fire out, what's it going to do? It's going to spread. It's going to get worse. And that's what we're doing. If I ignore that thing that's right outside my doorstep, what's going to happen? It's going to burn. It's going to spread. It's going to kill off the entire immediate neighborhood, which is, in this case, the entire province, right? Which is that doorstep, right? While agreed, we're doing something great for something else, right? And I'm not saying we should stop doing that. I'm just saying that we should rightfully allocate things and fix things that can immediately serve or benefit the people in this country as well.
I think a good analogy for this is, when they show those safety videos on airplanes, air cabin pressure, it's like, help yourself first, put the mask on yourself first, and then help others. The reason being, only when you help yourself, you'll have clarity and clairvoyance, clarity to help others. Even putting on like a life vest. If you put on a life vest first, then I can help another person put on a life vest because I know how to put it on now. So it's always clarity from helping yourself first allows you to have a better perspective on how to help another person. But we went off topic. Talk about
No, I think this is a fantastic topic. Because it goes back to the idea of what kind of doctor I think people in this generation should become. Like, of course, everyone has their own method of what they want to be a doctor. So when I say should, I mean the reason that I want to be. Because I think that I'm a very selfless person. I'm extremely selfless. I see a lot of things in my experiences. I see a lot of methods and things that are done in the healthcare profession that I agree. It's a profession. You are doing it because this is a career. Career entails money. And of course, the more things we do, the more money we should get out of it. And I understand all of that. But there's another aspect to this career that is the humanistic aspect, right? You are working to serve other people. You're working to prevent ailments or cure ailments and prolong people's life. And you are doing that. Whether it's early life, palliative care, or whatever, everything in between, you're doing that. So there comes a point where you have to be a little selfless. So the way that I want to do things, or the way that I think people in the future should do it, they should stop caring only about the money, man. Like, just treat the fucking person. Just treat them. And I know it's easier said than done. And I will prove it. I want you to fucking check me check me when I'm 30. If at 30 I am doing everything opposite to what I'm doing right now, I want you to call me out. I'll hang up the white coat right then and there.
You're gonna come Jeff Bezos of medicine. I'll see you you'll be rugging out your own.
Hello.
Hey. Sorry, we went off on a tangent, and we both started yelling and fighting, and then
Okay, yeah, we started fighting. The ceilings are leaking. There's a fire outside. Anyways, the main thing that I'm trying to say right now is that Canada needs a whole overhaul of their medical field, their healthcare program, whatever. They needs a whole overhaul. And I think the biggest thing that's going to come from this is the fact that we're going to see a lot of people, a lot of students coming in or leaving Canada to study. We're going to see a lot of that in the next 4 years.
and then they're going to come back.
And they're going to come back.
They're going to be asked to come back.
Exactly. They're going to be asked to come back. Right now, you know what? You know the kind of ads I've been seeing online. I've been seeing ads from Alberta. The Albertan government is literally going like, come study medicine in Alberta. Come be a healthcare professional in Alberta. I'm sitting in Ontario, and they're asking me to come to Alberta. That's the start. We're starting there, and we're gonna see. There's gonna be a huge shift. I was actually talking about this with one of my friends. There's gonna be a huge shift. We're gonna see Canadians, more and more Canadians, leaving the country to study, and then they're going to be asked to come here. There's going to be specific incentives to come back here for residency, either in United States or Canada, to finish that, because the way things are going, we're on the border of a healthcare crisis.
Every year Trudeau wants 500,000 more people coming every year.
Yeah.
And with 500,000 more people, that means, well, if let's say each doctor has 100, how much? 100, 200 clients?
I would say, honestly, they have more.
They have more?
They have more patients. That's
Is
why.
it that stressed?
Yeah, they're booked up for. There are doctors who are booked up until like after Christmas right now.
Okay, so I have a cousin who's a doctor, a physician, and her husband's a physician. They've given me like approximate of like how their schedules have been like, but the more you say it, the more troubling it gets. My guess, in the worst case scenario, 600. That's.
Yeah, I think that's definitely worst case scenario. I wouldn't say that it's.
It's not that bad. Like 400.
Yeah, I'd say definitely like.
Okay, 300. 400. Divide that by 500,000. Let's give the 500. You need at least for 500. You need at least 1,000 doctors.
I think so, and I think I was watching Doctor. I've been really hooked on Dr. Mike's podcast recently, but Dr. Mike said a lot of things on the podcast, and one of the themes that he keeps repeating in every episode is the fact that each patient, an appointment is 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and in 10 to 15 minutes you can get nothing done, right? So he always questions, is like, how do they expect me to, hear the patient out, talk about symptoms, talk about future steps, this and that, because he's a doctor of osteopathic medicine, a DO, which is an upcoming medical degree, which I think is definitely going to become popular in the next 4, 5, 6 years. For those who don't know, it's pretty much the twin of an MD, or it's the younger brother of an MD, where it's pretty much the same thing, except it's a newer degree. But essentially with that, he's treating patients, or he's trying to treat them holistically, and he can't do that in 10, 15 minutes, right? So he struggles, obviously. He talks about, he's like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, but how can they expect me to do that in 10, 15 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I think the real struggle is, because if we have, obviously, more patients equals more money, and 10 to 15 minute appointments means you can take more patients throughout the day. But at one point, is that actually, are you hurting the patient more than actually helping them? Because yes, you could see them, right? Talk to them 10, 15 minutes, done. You could figure out as much as you need to. But there are a lot of cases where, let's say you're talking about things like mental health. How is someone supposed to express how they're feeling to you in 15 minutes?
It's a lot. There's a lot of issues. I think, yeah, it's going to take a overhaul of a lot of already set medical practices in like not just Ontario but all of Canada. And in America, we're seeing some of those effects. The thing is, America, because it's ruled more by a free capitalist like environment,
Yeah,
DOs have much more freedom there,
they do. Yeah.
and like where they practice, how they practice, and how much success. So like, there's a lot of DOs. Like I heard the DO practice in New York and in Florida is very popular.
Oh yeah, they opened up a new DO school in Florida too.
Yeah,
They opened up a new one.
It's becoming more popular, not just because they're like, oh, MDs, they're just giving us pills, medications. It's because the DOs are not just like, oh, yeah, they're not like giving like, oh, some spiritual medicine. No, they're acting on like base level. Oh, what are your base level symptoms? But how does that affect you? Let me expect it more. Let me see what's happening. Let me take some DNA tests. Let me take blood tests. Let me send those out.
And also, like, how are those symptoms how are those symptoms not only just causing the pain, but what is causing those symptoms? Like, let's say you're feeling, I have a headache, right? Now the DO is asking, is like, okay, you have a headache. When does it happen? Does it happen after a test? Does it happen when you wake up in the morning? Okay, so it happens when you wake up in the morning, right? What kind of thoughts do you have when you have the headache, right? Then they're going into deeper levels. They're not talking about, okay, it's a headache, you're feeling pain, let's treat the pain. No, they're treating the headache. They're treating why you're having the headache, and they're fixing that. They're like, okay, you're having this, you're feeling these things. These are things you are feeling. You're feeling pain because of these things. Let's treat this rather than just the pain. That's what I think that's fantastic. And that's the thing. Even if things like even things like cancer, how are you supposed to explain the steps you need to take to a patient who's like, you're about to diagnose this patient with a specific type of cancer in 10 to 15 minutes? They're going to have multiple questions. They're going to want to like be like, okay, what do I do? This, am I going to die? That's a question. You're going to be hit with the am I going to die question. And how are you supposed to explain that in not even 10 minutes, in maybe 5, because you've already done 5 minutes explaining to them the course of treatment?
Mm-hmm. I think in the future we should talk about this more, especially about the oath MDs make. I don't know if DOs also
they
make
do.
the
They
same
do
oath.
the same
Oath
Hippocratic
of
oath. Yeah.
Hippocratic oath by is it Hippocrates?
Hippocrates.
Yeah, by the legendary philosopher and I think the first ever medical practitioner.
I think so. Yeah.
In history, he was Greek. Hippocrates, the legend himself. So I think we should think about learn more about that, because I heard that oath plays a lot into the levels of what ethics you should put, like serving and making sure like you practice. Like a lot of doctors around the world, like Doctors Without Borders, their whole goal is like working on those philosophies, like treat anybody, no matter if they're like a criminal, no matter if they're like a person in bad faith, no matter if they've tried to harm you before, unless they're unless they're trying to harm someone, right then and there, help like treat them if they're in their medical danger, if they're in medical danger.
Exactly. I don't know. I think there's I've never seen Grey's Anatomy up until
You'd be happy you have it. My mother has since childhood, every single day since I moved to Oakville.
Yeah.
Every single every single, how do I say this? At least every single other day I've seen a scene my mom was watching until recently, until I moved to university.
So the thing with so I never seen Grey's Anatomy until my girlfriend starts using my Netflix account for Grey's Anatomy. So sometimes I'll watch the episodes that she would watch. And while, again, I'm not sure yet, I'll find out whatever medical inaccuracies there are when I get into medical school. But I think the one thing that I do like about that show is they actually show the emotions that the doctors have for patients. They actually show that the doctors care about the patients. They show which doctors may not. They show which doctors do. They show the dichotomy of that, right? And how they work towards helping the patient. Mm-hmm. I think that is something that, while medical shows are extremely inaccurate scientifically, that is something that people should learn from it. Because again, the show is meant to tackle or hit a certain nerve in yourself, like the emotional nerve. They want to make you feel like happy, sad, whatever. But isn't that's just how the job should be too? Like we're not, like, again, we're supposed to be professional, but we gotta be a little bit, we gotta
empathetic. Empathetic.
We gotta be professional, but we also, we have to be empathetic. That's the main issue. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this.
Okay. There's reasons that they're not empathetic, and it's like it's a lot of safety. There's danger to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But a small amount of empathy won't hurt too much. I
It's
believe
not.
it'll help.
It's not. It'll help 100%.
Because it'll also help the family understand like the risks of whatever surgery happens and all that stuff. But it's dangerous. Like being a doctor is glorified, but at the same time, like it's not. As you get older, it becomes more terrifying.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's something that I want to try to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen whatever the positives, the pros and cons of the medical field. I've seen the pros and cons of like every doctor, and I think I've learned from that to try to pick out the good of each person, like looking at shadowing, studying, and I've put the puzzles together of what kind of doctor I want to be, which is why I'm very passionate about it, because I can't wait to be that one finally. And I think that I want to be able to influence people to hopefully see that side too, to see that, yeah.
On that topic, still in the medical industry, I'm going to ask your perspective, because I'm every day, as I'm in my fourth year, I'm interacting with more professors. I'm getting a new perspective on pharmacy and like the pharmaceutical industry. Mm-hmm. I want to get your perspective on the pharmaceutical industry. Not if they're evil, not if they're good.
Yeah.
What do you think is happening? What do you think are their intentions? Why do you think there have been so many like occasions of corruption, but at the same time, occasions of them making good medicine but upcharging all that good medicine? What's your perspective on all this?
So obviously, pharmaceutical companies, they're businesses, right? Their main job, of course, is to make money. So they are going to create more medicine. That's like an incentive to create better medicine, to not only just help people, but to make more money for themselves. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong per se, right? Of course, they're a company, they're a business. That's just what it is. But they are doing amazing things. They are helping people cure things that we weren't able to cure before. I think a lot of people see just the bad side about the pharmaceutical industry. Because of the fact that, again, they're a business, my parents included. When I was about to get on medication for my acne, my parents were like, "Oh no, your doctor's just prescribing this because he wants the money, the pharmacy, this, just do natural ways." Like, sure, yes, I can do natural ways, but
badam oil. That's an Indian natural way, like coconut oil, badam, which is almond oil. That's
exactly. Like, no, is it like the thing is, I can do the natural way, but there's a higher chance that nothing's going to get fixed, right? This is something that I've been self-conscious about my entire life, right? So I really want it gone. And obviously the decision to get on a medication ultimately is mine, but I think that for people to shy away from the fact from medication purely because they think that the pharmaceutical industry is evil is the wrong thing to do. I think people should be wary about certain things. Do your research, but at the end of the day, talk to your doctor. Trust your doctor. Have a doctor you can trust. Ask them the real questions. And again, if you don't want to do something, you don't do it, because at the end of the day, treatment up until you get into palliative care is pretty much, or actually even when you get into palliative care, they reflect patient autonomy, right? They know that it's the patient's choice, whatever this.
Yeah.
Of course, when up until you get up until like palliative care, the main goal for healthcare is essentially to cure, right? Whereas once you get up into palliative care, the main goal is you do end of life care, right? So you do things to enhance the quality of life while you still can. So you're doing things like pain prevention, right? You're making the patient enjoy themselves. It's all patient-led at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Up until that point, this is still, everything is doctor-led, but respecting the fact that it's patient autonomy, right? After that, it's fully patient-led. So the doctor is going to follow the doctor, the music therapist, whatever type of therapist or whatever, is going to respect the wishes of the patient and just follow whatever the patient wants to do. So I think understanding the fact that it is ultimately patient autonomy, understanding the fact that yes, it's a business, but also understanding the fact that there are a lot of reasons why medicine is currently as important as it has to be. We are out of water, so. But yeah, I think it's just you have to know your stuff. Just research.
Mm-hmm.
Just do your research and trust your doctor. Yeah, I don't think it's evil, but yeah.
The barriers of pharmacies was always amazing to me though as well, because it's like that's where I feel people start to feel like the evil comes in, the barriers, because like there was a statistic that came out. I forgot what it was, some newspaper. They say it cost $100 million for the production of like a new test pharmaceutical drug. It cost another $100 million for the first trial on like rats and like primates and stuff. It cost $200 million on the trial on human-led trials, and by the end of everything, through going through FDA improvements of the drug, taking out side effects, all that stuff to get it approved, they say it will cost around $1 billion to get a workable drug and like to the people, to a targeted audience. And if that drug is targeting a very small audience, that's why it'd be so expensive. On the other flip side though, and I think this is where pharmacy has everyone has the right to not slay, what was it called, bash them on this, is opioids. I don't think there's any excuse they can take out of it. The invention of OxyContin and the use in America, especially, even in Canada, in the place I currently live, my dorm in St. Catharines, there are signs on drugstores saying no OxyContin here. I'm like, why? And I had to go to a pharmacist because there's a pharmacist in my school, and I asked him why, and he was like, "Well, this area of St. Catharines has a lot of people was affected very largely in the opioid crisis. A lot of people got hooked on OxyContin, a lot of people got hooked on morphine, like all these type of painkillers."
But is that necessarily the pharmacy's fault? Or?
Oh, bro, they were advertising. They were literally advertising it was safe and non-addictive when they had studies.
But
It's the management of it, not the pharmacists themselves. I'm not blaming pharmacists. I'm not blaming pharmacists. However, I'm blaming the leaders of it, because they were told to pay out a bunch of money because of their fault. There's a lot of corruption behind opioids. On the flip side, though, on treatment for like diabetes medication, for medication for dementia, ALD. Is it ALD or no?
For what exactly?
It's the condition, I should know, it's a neurocognitive condition. It's when it's the one Stephen Hawking was covering. ALS.
No, it wasn't Stephen Hawking. Parkinson's. Sorry. That was ALS.
ALS
is also something. It's neuromuscular.
Neuromuscular, and also cost a lot of money for the medication as well. A lot of these, it's a very high cost and a high cost barrier to get into that for them to develop the medication. Hopefully it gets cheaper for them to produce it. Hopefully they don't need as much. But like for those I understand, but opioids, I am more than happy to consider whenever a company decides to promote more opioids or making like a more addictive opioid and not being transparent on studies on opioids, I am more than happy to bash them on it. However, I have the same degree, because a lot of professors, a lot of people I've been talking to, even Dr. Mike, one of his perspectives is like, you have to look at it two ways. One, it's their company. They need to make money.
Exactly.
On the other hand, they have like pharmacists take an oath themselves. They're trying to help people. We know people in pharmacy school that are trying to help people.
One of my best friends is in pharmacy school.
Oh no, yeah, New a guy I know called Abel. He's in the same primary school as New. Then we know another person as well. But they themselves are also trying to help people through a different avenue, trying to understand, trying to educate people. They pharmacists play actually a big role in vaccine hesitance and like stopping that. So it's very interesting. In the future topic, we'll talk about vaccine hesitance.
I do have a question for you. So I was watching the Impulsive podcast by Logan Paul.
The scammer. Man's made $1.5 million off Prime. It's like advertising. $1.5 billion. Oh yeah, $1.5 billion. I'm such a big man. I'm gonna scam a bunch of little fans I have of millions and millions of dollars. Well, not millions and millions, but like at least $1 million from crypto. So I despise people like that mainly because they're hypocrites. If he just came out and be like, I failed, your money went away.
What do you mean? He saved Rey Mysterio recently.
I'm going to kill myself.
He saved Rey Mysterio and he beat up Dylan Dennis. What more could you want from a man?
Dylan Dennis that fight was the stupidest thing I've ever watched. But what is your question?
My question is, so on the Impulsive podcast, one of the not most recent, but I'd say a few episodes ago, they had Mark Cuban on as a guest. And Mark Cuban actually has a company where he basically, it's like a pharmaceutical company or like a distribution company, right? Where he essentially cuts down the cost of medications that people desperately need, because obviously in the US they don't have free healthcare. So while things might be expensive here, I would assume there things are a little bit more expensive,
especially with medical insurance.
Yeah. So for the people that don't have that insurance, or their insurance doesn't cover everything, he has that company, and it cuts down things a lot. So things that are maybe like 500 or 5,000, they cost like $50-$60 for like a medicine. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's very good, helpful. He's probably cutting some, going through some loopholes, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
He's trying to improve things. Now, there's been controversies around his thing as well. There's a certain one that I saw in news on Breaking Points, which is a YouTube news channel I really like. But I believe he's moving in the right direction. When people are making an effort to move in the right direction and they make small mistakes, but they're transparent about it, I'm fine with it. Transparency, even if they're hypocrites for a time, but they're like, oh, I'm transparent, I was a hypocrite here, this is the reason why, I was greedy, whatever. Even if it was for a sin, like greed or envy or pride, that's fine. All of us have those sins. We have lust, we have greed, pride, wrath. We show all of these like contempts and these these bad sides of ourselves. But being transparent is what's good about it. Not being always bad. You can't always be you can't always be an evil person or do evil actions or bad actions. But transparency is helpful, and I think he's making correct steps. But talking about that, what you remind me of is medical insurance. Apparently, medical insurance in America is a big reason why they upcharge products. If you pay cash to some pharmacies, so say they have a drug there that's sitting there and stuff, and they're like, the guy's like, oh, can I ask for the cash price for this drug? They would be like, okay, the cash price is $150. It's like, okay, fine, $150. Give it to you. There you go. Sometimes though, if they ask for they say, they give their insurance card and be like, oh, can I use this insurance? What's the price now? Ding ding ding. It'll come back as $200. It'll be more expensive because those pharmacy places or those hospitals, because hospitals are also privately owned.
That's true.
They upcharge medical private insurance. Is
it through their do they just secretly increase their dispensing fees?
It's not just secretly increasing it, because they've made it agreed, a face value agreed. Yeah. They agreed on a certain value for things, and they're like, oh, well, we sell this for this much, but we're not going to tell these guys. We'll say, oh, we sell for this much, and get them to pay $800, and we can make this much on the side. And then eventually, when that drug costs less for them to buy from a pharmaceutical company, the pharmacy can buy it for cheaper. So let's say this drug used to cost the pharmacy $600, and that was originally when they argued with the medical insurance company. Hey, we're charging $1,000 here. how much are you gonna cover? He's like, we'll cover 80%. The $200 of our guy will cover. He's like, okay, good. And then it becomes cheaper for them to make it. It's like, oh no, it's not actually $600. We found a way to make it cheaper. It costs now $100. And now it's like $150 and making the $50 still. Like even though they're not making that much, they can sell this to more people now. That's why they're making that.
Yeah.
But apparently, once you show your insurance card, they can't tell you the cash price because it's against the law. Apparently, because it's against the agreement. There's some law apparently, but after you show your insurance card, they can't tell you.
So this is why people think pharmaceutical companies are evil, but it's actually just the pharmacies.
It's a mix between the distributor, the pharmacy, and the pharmaceutical companies. There's a TV show on Amazon called Goliath.
Yeah.
I tell people it's an amazing show. Watch. It's about a lawyer, but watch. He fights a pharmaceutical company in the 4th season, and he's showing how the pharmacy company they're with, the distributor they're with, and the pharmaceutical company itself that's producing the drug, all three of them are working together. They're having dinners together. They're all colluding and making money in the scenarios. But it's always the big branch, not the small branch.
Yeah.
Like there's local pharmacies. Those guys don't have those big ass deals. It's like big franchises. Yeah. Shoppers Drug Mart.
Rexall.
That's in Canada. Rexall is Canada and America, I believe.
Yeah.
Rexall. CVS is the American one.
Honestly, I think
Walgreens.
like with this type of thing, I don't blame people for I don't blame people for thinking that pharmaceutical companies are evil, because like if you have to get a medication and it's like so overpriced and they're actually increasing it too, I would think the same thing.
Yeah. And plus, I just want to say we are 22-year-olds. Even though we're adults, we are still misinformed on some stuff.
Yeah.
So if we are wrong, please comment, cite us and comment section us in the bottom. I'm more than happy to reference when I was wrong or admit to when I was wrong. I could be wrong about everything I said.
Because we're just learning. Because again, the way we're basing off of everything through our own experiences. Everything is just anecdotal. We don't know the exact statistics about anything, but I think that's just what it is. We're just all over the place about everything.
We're all hypocrites, but that doesn't mean we're all ignorant or stupid or bad people. As long as we acknowledge our acknowledge our wrongdoings and try to improve, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So exactly. If someone tells us we're wrong, we'll be like, yeah, apparently we were wrong on that. So. Well, that's how it is, isn't it?
Exactly, in it. All right, any more topics?
I think we had I really liked that last topic we talked about. That was really fun.
Good, right? Yeah, it was a good switch because I knew we were talking about medical and it just connected.
That's what we're talking about. That's the type of things that happen on this, or will happen on this podcast. We'll just be talking about random stuff, and then we'll hit a click, and then boom, spark, fire, boom.
Also, India won.
I watched. Listen.
This man was doubting, hard doubting.
I watched the moment New Zealand started batting. Right. For those of you who don't know, the Cricket World Cup is happening right now. Yeah. No. ODI.
ODI.
50 overs. Yeah. Oh. So the World Cup is happening right now. Cricket. India has. So we're both Indian. India has one of the biggest reputations for killing it in the round robin stage. And basically choking so badly the moment we hit the semifinals, the knockout stage. So, for example, right now, we came out of the round robin stage winning every single game. We beat every single team. We're the only team that's undefeated in the round robin stage. And we expected to choke the moment we hit semifinals because, again, pressure, we're not humbled, blah, blah, blah. But we beat New Zealand. We really did. And while I was watching the game, I was like, oh shit, we're going to lose. Because there were moments between the 10th and the 30th over, we were choking so bad with the fielding. We were making mistakes after mistakes. The moment the 30th over hit, from 30th over to whatever over we finished, we hit 10 outs, the 10 wickets. Killing
48.
It was 48?
I think it was 48.5. It was about to go to the 49th.
Yeah. And even if we didn't hit the 10 wickets, they would have still never hit the target.
Goal,
the target run.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm more happy that Pakistan got kicked. No. I'm not. I don't hate the Pakistani people. I'm very.
It's
I
just
like
we just have like a very big rivalry, especially when it comes to cricket.
with Pakistan.
Every time at the biggest game, one of the biggest sporting games in the world, of course, like there's the like FIFA World Cup, this Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals. One of the biggest ones that'll always be up there with the other ones is the India versus Pakistan World Cup cricket match.
I think those matches have some of them have over 500 million viewers.
Yeah.
500 million. That's because India has a 1.3 billion population, and Pakistan has like I think close to 100 million.
No. They have like the last I checked, they had close to 300 million.
Oh yeah, 300 million. 300 million.
And mind you, the only reason why some Indians can't watch or don't watch the game is because we don't have electricity in part of the country.
Bro, India.
If everyone had TVs in India, then everyone would be watching.
Bro, it would go insane. Those matches, like especially when you're in a family house. Like I consider myself a Canadian. I'll be Canadian first always.
Exactly.
But when it comes to cricket, India wale. I always turn my Indian jeans on.
It was a great time. I was so nervous, and then I was sitting in the library, and I really wanted to like cheer when we won. This is it's huge for us to get to the finals because we actually do have a chance. We always usually get knocked out in the semis.
Now it's Australia or who?
South Africa.
Yeah, Australia or South Africa. And when we face Australia, buddy, it's gonna get ugly. I'm not. It's good. It's good. My family. I think on Friday they're having a watch party. My family.
Yeah.
So
against what for the final?
I think the finals on Friday, right? On Friday. Yeah, it's actually, midday.
Yeah, because semifinals tomorrow. The other semifinal games tomorrow.
Tomorrow, bro. It's gonna be interesting. Do you remember the biggest one? It's because it's not just because Dhoni got his championship, world championship.
Was that what 2011?
But also Sachin Tendulkar.
Was that not 2011?
Yeah. My family, we woke our ass up because it happened in India.
Yeah.
At like 4 a.m. They took us to our family friend's house. Everyone was getting like OD1 Tim Hortons and stuff, and it was like this is why it's one of my like core memories. There was the roll up time, and it was not the BS roll up with the app in the phone.
So
no.
Man.
It was when you had to your fingers couldn't roll it up because it was slightly soggy.
You had to use your teeth.
And then I got a free donut, so my mom was making a second run with all the aunties to get in, all the uncles in there, like all the kids are watching. I mean, India was batting first. Like, what was India? No, India was batting second. Right? I don't know.
I don't remember that one.
But the ending. No, India was back. India batted in second. India won the coin flip.
Yeah,
and they batted second. Bro, when we won, the party. Bro, this party was happening at like 10 a.m. This party happened at 10 a.m. in our house.
Let's introduce the other mans to cricket. Why don't we? I'll host. No, deadass. I'll host.
Let me be honest with you.
Wait,
unless you're an Indian, cricket, let me be honest, is very boring.
No. What are you,
bro?
What are you talking about?
There's only 4 major teams in cricket. There's India, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa.
Hold on, wait. I'm checking.
I don't include Pakistan because I have beef with them. No. There's like India, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and Pakistan. West Indies is also pretty good. Really good.
West Indies actually didn't. Oh wait, no. The finals on Sunday.
Oh.
Yo, y'all are coming to my house.
I'm not available.
Why?
Unless you guys drive me back. Like if I make it, you need to drive me back home. At least Burlington go.
Burlington's fine. Burlington go.
Okay.
So it's at 3:30 a.m.
Hey. 3:30 a.m. Are you okay? Yeah, no. None of us are waking up.
I woke up for the India-Pakistan game.
Yeah, you woke up for the India-Pakistan game because you're a fan of it. A big fan. I watch as a family event. When you're with your family, you just turn in. So it's an event. But like the thing is, cricket is not that big of a sport internationally as it should be.
It should be.
There's intricacies into it. It's kind of like baseball. I love baseball. I love cricket. I love a lot of sports, and every sport has an art form. Bowling is an art form, just as pitching is in baseball. Batting is an art form which has more freedom than hitting in baseball. But then like the other beauty is like not just the batting and running, it's fielding. Like it's interesting. Yeah. Like they push more people to the left side. You can only have so many people close to where the batters are
Yeah.
for like I think 10 overs. They can only
Yeah,
have
first 10 overs.
First 10 overs.
You're only allowed, I think, 2 people like right by the boundary.
Yeah, and then after that, you need then you have more freedom
Yeah.
to choose. But it's always interesting. There's tactics in play, management.
It's strategy because I didn't even know this up until one of my friends who's like a big fanatic, but he told me he's like as the game of cricket progresses, it changes because one, the ball is changing because of wear and tear, as well as the main pitch itself changes because of one, things like the weather or things like again wear and tear. So it's a huge.
It's an interesting sport, but yeah.
Mm.
We'll talk further about this.
Yes.
If India wins, we'll be very celebrating.
We'll make a whole episode on that.
No, that's it. But we'll make a segment. And however, if India does lose,
It's gonna be horrible.
I might start. You want? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anyway,
I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, we want to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Our MC here.
Well,
You've MC'd how many shows?
I was for what?
You've MC'd like leading host of our podcast.
Of that, I was the main introducer and the person who like outroed. Actually, no, I was mainly the introducer. I would say I didn't do the outro, but
yeah. But you were also MC of our
grade 8 graduation.
You've been MC of multiple of our events.
Yeah,
so I'm taking you to
be the one
conclusion.
All right, so thank you guys for all tuning in for our first episode. I think we hit a pretty good spark with it. First little bit maybe all bouncing around, but that's what the nature of the podcast is going to be. We're going to bounce around until we hit a spark, and then we're going to continue talking until we get bored or hit a time limit. We don't really know too much about scheduling yet, but we're just going to kind of go where the wind takes us.
Comment, dislike. If you dislike, please tell us why in the comments at least. Yeah. Follow or subscribe on whatever platform we put this on. Hopefully YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts or wherever else. And Aryan?
And thank you for tuning in. And this has been All Over the Place, and we hope to see you once again soon.
Peace.